Welcome back to the Jeremiah Show. We're having a nice conversation today with my special guest. We're talking about the lies we tell ourselves and how we can rewire our brains to have a healthier outlook. And it's really when we talk mental wellness and it's the catchphrases right now. They're trendy, but mental wellness or mental health, and they're used so much. But think about it. We exercise everywhere else, our body everywhere else, but we don't give the time that's needed to rest our brains and then give the brain the exercise, give the brain positive thoughts and make ourselves healthy in that way. And if the brain doesn't work, nothing else works. So Rain
True.
Brown is here, and she was on Alaskan Bush People for 16 seasons. I think I've got that right. That was a reality documentary. I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, you got to check it out, and you can binge all 16 seasons like I did for about a month and a half. It's a reality documentary series that followed the Brown family as they lived off the land in Alaska's wilderness, far away from modern society. And Rain, although it wasn't, oh, I wasn't aware of it until the very end. She was struggling with, um, I guess, depression and being a young girl, being in the television industry, and then just life, just family and life and the things that happen. You struggled with it, Rain. So welcome back, Josiah and Rain. Really good conversation, and I'm so happy to have an honest conversation about it and share. Rain is sharing her story. A lot of what she's talking about, I don't think she shared anywhere else, right?
Mm-mm.
But this is something that you are, I don't know if passion is the right word, but you want to help people. You don't want people to feel alone like you did. And you're using your story and your experience to help others. And so thank you for that.
Of course. And, to me, I see a lot of not only stigma around mental health and mental health disorders to begin with, but kind of a shame that's put onto it. Like people that haven't dealt with it will say things like, oh, well, you're just saying that for attention or like yada, 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 or like you wouldn't actually do that. You should go do that. And, people just throw it around,
Do you
and
mean if you threaten maybe suicide? Is that what you're referring?
yeah, yeah, referring to suicide,
Because
like
that's
they
where
just like,
that's how you feel right then, right? You
yeah,
feel you're that
and you
low.
have exactly, and you have people telling you too. They'll be like, "Well, what do you have to be sad about?" There's nothing to be sad about, but it's not. Depression is not a sadness. Sadness is an emotion that's fleeting, and depression is something that is consistent. It stays there. I'm still to this day on antidepressants because I can't function without them. I would just be in bed all the time.
No, it's terrible. Um, so nobody knew. When did they know like the television crew and the people on the show? Did they know you were going through this young at a young?
No,
So you were
no,
keeping this all to
nobody.
yourself, not even
Yeah,
your mom, your best friend.
yeah, everybody. No
It
one knew
was,
anything.
and how heavy was that? That must have been an overbearing load for you to carry.
It was. It felt like I had some like weird secret that I couldn't tell anybody. You know what I mean? Like, but I was like, at the same time, I like, didn't want anybody to worry or, you know, get in the way. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
because when you're in that state of mind, determination is just depends on how hard up you really are. And, for me, any times that I have attempted, because I did in the past, I'm very blessed to be able to say that I'm on stable ground now, but that's not without facing some consequences of some things, And the main thing I would say to any viewers listening that might struggle with anything is get help before help gets you.
Yeah.
Like just reach out because you don't want to end up spiraling out of control and wind up either deceased or locked up somewhere for the rest of your life. So it is serious. It's not something that should be hidden. It's not something that should be ashamed of. I have bipolar, I have depression, I have anxiety, PTSD, like all the things, you know, and just every day when I wake up, I'm like, okay, we're doing it again, you know, just
You
one
have
more
to
day, one more
reset every
day.
day.
Yeah.
Reset, basically reset your how your outlook. Well, you said something that I thought was really interesting right at the start there. You said people tell you, no, you're not going to do that, or you're not that depressed, or what do you have to be depressed about? Maybe that was the
Mm,
what you said. Why are you unhappy? You're on a hit TV show, or you're, you've got family and friends around you that when they look at your life, they don't see why you should be feeling anything but happy. But that's part of the problem, I think, in the conversation is that if you are brave enough to actually tell somebody that you are feeling that way, or that you might be suicidal, or that you're depressed, I think people's natural reaction is to say, "Oh, no, everything's good with you. You couldn't. Why would you say that?" Because that's just our natural, I think human beings' natural instincts to want to solve or resolve everything, right?
hmm
Is there a better thing that someone can say, Rain, in your opinion, a better reaction that when you finally confess, you finally get to that point where you say, "I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling really low." What's the reaction from the person what would you want to hear? Do you know what you'd like
What
to
can I
hear?
do to help?
Yeah. Or what can I?
You know,
Perfect.
like they would just ask, what can I do to help? Because to me, it's not about giving the help that you think they need, to getting the help that they're asking for. Because if you just give someone the help that you think that they need, it's not going to be help to them because it's not
Right.
actually what they need help with.
Because we know our normal reaction is to gloss over it, right? Make you go, everything's going to be okay. So you're really not helping at all. So I like
And
that.
then, well, yeah, and then you get into toxic positivity as well, which to me, it's
Explain that.
so toxic positivity is when you're outwardly positive about everything to an extent, so much so that you get upset when it doesn't go exactly how you would plan it to be. And then it turns into negativity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. So give an example of how that in your life, how that's happened, if you can.
Well, not necessarily in my life, but just in other people's lives that have struggled. Like, because I've had a lot of friends and I've known a lot of people, a lot of fans of the show have reached out to me and told me that they were gonna, you know, commit suicide and that seeing our show saved them and helped them. And
Oh,
that's
that's great.
and that's just what I want to keep doing that, you know?
Have anybody aside from that instance, have other fans reached out to you? Don't you think this is a really common, um, I don't know, common problem that I don't know if that's even the right word. What's the right word? It's something that so many are going through. Very, very common and all ages.
Well, and
Yeah.
I would agree with that too. And the younger you get to the more it doesn't have permanence in their head because they're not old enough yet to realize permanency in that sense. Like if I had succeeded when I first tried, I wouldn't have lived past 15. You know, like I would have missed my whole life. I would have missed this guy. I would have missed my nieces and nephews. Would have missed out so much time with my family, so much time that I cherish with my mom. Memories that will come with me to the grave. You know what I mean? Like just amazing memories that we have together. And that is always what has kept me going is the question of what if. I'm just like, again, like I said before, just like, what if tomorrow? What if the next day? What if today? because any moment is a new moment. But I didn't, outwardly come out and say, I need help or anything. I talked to my parents about it first, and I told them that I think
At
that I'm
15?
struggling.
At 15. So your parents were aware of it, but the television show wasn't the crew and all that, that it just
I didn't want it to be
kept,
publicized at
kept
that time.
rolling.
Yeah.
Josiah, have you what's your experience on, I mean, do you have any, are you able to relate with Rain and
Yeah,
not that,
very, very
not to,
deeply. I mean, I've struggled with a lot of, I guess, downs in my entire life, and they got at some point the burdens got too heavy, and that I felt was the only option, and it was not the option.
Mhm.
no, so you
I would
look
have
at you
missed out
two.
on everything.
You would have missed out, as she said, on she would have missed out on you and you would have missed out on her. It
Exactly.
sounds like you guys were really, you found each other and you needed to find each other and you help
Oh
each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's take another real quick break and we'll come back. Let's talk about what you would like to do, what you'd like to do with this knowledge that you have, this wisdom and your voice. You both have a good voice here that to lend to this. And so we'll do that. We'll take a quick break. I'm going to tell you how you can find Rain Brown Lorton at raincatherinebrown.l. We'll be right back. It's on Instagram, by the way. We'll be right back.